What is going on, y'all, and welcome to the Crew Motorfest. And I want to give a massive thank you to the devs for allowing me to check this game out. Now, this is a game that I have been extremely excited to look deeper into, and I am super happy to be able to share this with y'all today. Now, the location for this game, I think it's about as perfect as a location could possibly get, because think about it. This is one of the most wild environments that you could choose to have a open world racing game in, and not just any open world racing game, the next installment in the Crew series. I remember when the Crew first came out, the original The Crew, and it was mind-blowing for its time, but this is on a totally different level. I mean, we're talking about everything from racing hypercars down the highway to shredding around a racetrack in an open-wheel race car to blasting through the woodlands and mountains on an off-road bike or in an off-road vehicle or ripping through the city on a motorcycle. There are so many different options, and that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of all the different things you'll be able to do in Motorfest.
Gather up, everyone. Photo time.
And also, as you can see, characters play a big role in this game. And also, oh my god, can we take a second to talk about how crazy that S2000 looks. That S2000, the second I saw it, I was absolutely losing my mind. Look at that body kit, and the wing, and the livery, and the hardtop, and it's insane. It's absolutely wild, that car. Absolutely nuts. Also, is that a Ferrari Challenge race car? Because it certainly looks like it. Also, there are loops out there in the distance, and then suddenly a Bugatti Bolide appears, followed by another S2000, and then a Tacoma, and then more open-wheel race cars. There is so much going on in this entire section. And also, GTR race car, Audi race car, massive racetrack. So many different things are happening all at one time, and I can already tell that this is going to be not only an incredible game to play, but it's going to be an incredible experience just to enjoy, because there's so many different elements to it. And also, this Toyota Supra, this beautiful wide-body Toyota Supra, is ours to drive right out of the gate. This is how they introduce us to the Made in Japan playlist. And not only does it do a great job of highlighting the customization and the style of the body kits that a lot of these cars have, but it also shows you how much the visual style of this game can vary from environment to environment, or from scenario to scenario, or playlist to playlist. There's all sorts of different ways that the visual style can be adapted, and I think that right here in the Made in Japan playlist, it's absolutely beautiful. You have the dragon snaking its way through the city between the buildings. You have all of these gorgeous JDM cars, and the reflections off of the pavement and the water is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now, at this point in the race, I was really trying to feel everything out, feel out the car, feel out sort of the grip of the road, the environment, things like that. So if you see me taking some lines that may look odd, that's why. Now, as I progressed on through this race, it was kind of hard for me to, well, I wouldn't say it was hard for me to focus on the race itself, but I often found myself really just looking at all around and trying to take in these beautiful, beautiful neon visuals. Like, the amount of neon on screen in this race is, it's like otherworldly. It's so incredibly wild. And then, obviously, right after you cross the line, it gives you another beauty shot of that Supra, and also a little bit of an NSX and a wide-body FD-RX-7, which seems to be a recurring theme, along with, of course, this R34 drag car that they show. That right there was totally unexpected, but very welcome. And then we take our experience off-road into the dirt and behind the wheel of this Ford Bronco. Now, this was entirely different. Like, As you can imagine, it was entirely different from ripping around the city streets in Toyota Supra to going off of massive jumps in a Bronco. Now, there's a Hummer EV behind us, there's a bike in this race, but there's also a Jeep Wrangler, there's a Toyota Tacoma, there's a lot of different, actually really recognizable competition in this off-road race. And what I love about this off-road race, or at least this particular one, and I'm sure this is going to lend itself to a lot of the other off-road races that you'll do in the game, is that obviously you get this tremendous amount of freedom to take just about whatever path you want. But as we drive through here, I want to encourage y'all to look way out ahead and not just at where we're going, because the amount of detail that you can see, apart from me missing that jump, and yes, that was my bad. I missed the jump, I drifted too far, couldn't recover in time, drove over the cliff, but you know what I did do? I recovered somewhat. And managed to get somewhat back into the race. I didn't work my way all the way back into first, but I was not completely out of the race, I'll tell you that. Now, one of the other things I loved about the off-roading, though, was that it really just made me want to explore. Like, internally, I was like, oh my god, I cannot wait to put together a fleet of off-roaders and just go exploring, because it seems like there's absolutely so much world at your fingertips to explore in this game. And honestly, that's one of the most exciting things about it to me. And here at the end of the off-road race, I want to mention some of the things that I spotted. Like, for example, that lifted Mustang. You're going to see a couple of different four-wheelers, like the one right there, alongside those dirt bikes. Off-roading is going to be a massive part of this game. But then we completely switch gears again to check out the Motorsports playlist, which has us racing open-wheel race cars around closed circuits. Now, whether or not closed course racing is your thing, this was a blast. Now, I will say, I did have to get used to how sensitive the cars were after being in the off-roaders. Like, these will just dive right into a corner at a moment's notice, and that's not a bad thing. It's an amazing thing. They're a blast to drive, but it definitely had to adjust my brain a little bit. And also, you can see we have a tire wear meter up there at the top. So as you progress through these races, not only will the tire wear be visible, but it will also crucially affect your performance. Now, tried to go deep on that corner, and someone was not very happy about that, but as you can see here, we actually dive into the pits, we get new tires, our grip gets restored, and we take off again. Isn't that insane? Literally, in an open world racing game, we have the ability to also race on closed racetracks with gameplay mechanics like pit stops and tire changes. I'm sorry, what? That is something that I did not think I was going to be seeing or experiencing, and when I pulled into the pits and saw them run out with impacts and change all my tires, I was like, what? Like, I'm sorry, I have no idea what's going on right now, or rather, I did not expect any part of what was going on, but I was absolutely not disappointed whatsoever. And as we wrap up the motorsports section, we get a look at those gorgeous Acura NSX GT3 race cars. We also get a quick look at this Senna GTR as well as that Lamborghini race car. But we're actually going to change gears again and switch over to the Vintage Garage playlist. This is really cool because not only do you get to race vintage sports cars and classics, but you also aren't dealing with any boost at all. Nitrous is not a thing with these cars, and you don't get a GPS either. So not only do you not get a GPS to see what's coming, but you also don't get boost to help boost yourself out of a corner if you mess it up. This is actually like, it changes the way the game feels, and I love when elements of gameplay change to suit the scenario. And it's like, you know, you'll have some games where it's like, okay, cool, the car that you're driving might change, but like the way the game feels doesn't change all that much. This, on the other hand, not only does the feel of the car change, but the actual gameplay itself, the gameplay dynamics also change in terms of boost, in terms of GPS, all sorts of different things. And I think it really does a great job at keeping it not only really fresh, but also really interesting. Also, coming up in a little bit, I'm not quite sure what line I was trying to take, but I went right off of the road and into some flags, and let's just say I wouldn't recommend doing that. Not exactly a recommended strategy, for sure. This car, though, was a blast to drive, and certainly a totally different vibe than really any of the vehicles that I had driven up to this point, and all of these beautiful areas within the map are just absolutely incredible. Being out here by the beach was just gorgeous. And of course, as quickly as this playlist wraps up, we jump right into another one. And the one that we jump into next, holy crap, y'all. I absolutely lost my mind when I saw the brand new Lamborghini Revuelto on screen, and I realized I was going to drive it. Now, the location they chose for this race is honestly perfect. You are literally shredding down a highway on the coastline, blasting through tunnels in this, I think orange, by the way, is the perfect color for the Revuelto, although, you know, car color is completely and totally subjective, so that's totally like a personal thing. If you think it looks best in green or white or gray or whatever the case may be, that's entirely up to you. But when I saw that I was gonna get to drive the Revuelto in orange, I was just absolutely losing it. Literally massive grin, ear to ear, just shredding with this thing. And the way it sounds is frankly incredible. Also, when I looked off to the side there, I could not believe how clear and crisp the water was. It's honestly, even though I feel like you're supposed to stay on the road, the water was actually, it looked really inviting. Like literally the way that the water at a real beach looks really inviting, that water pretty much looked the same way. And as we wrap up this race, make sure that you are following the channel for more gameplay from the Crew Motorfest. Our next video is gonna be a much deeper dive into the Made in Japan playlist. So if that is something that you want to see, make sure that you are subscribed and have those notifications turned on. And with that, we are about to blast across the line in this gorgeous Lamborghini Revuelto. So once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one, and I cannot wait to share more from the Crew Motorfest with y'all.